All right, welcome to Trello training for your Juice Plus business. My name is Nicole Helmstetler, and today I will be sharing this amazing organizational tool called Trello. Many of you have heard or are familiar with my Juice Plus business organizer, the spreadsheet that I use to track and follow up with all my customers and prospects. Well, that spreadsheet is now a thing of the past for me, and Trello is what I use to keep track of all of that. It's easy to use, mobile friendly, and a superior way to organize for me. You can take it or leave it. I know it's not for everyone. Like a famous, beautiful woman I know once said, you've got to pick and choose what you will use. But since you're here, I'm assuming that at least you want to learn what it's about, and that's what I intend to do today. So what is Trello? Trello is a collaboration tool that organizes your projects into boards. In one glance, Trello tells you what's being worked on, who's working on what, and where something is in a process. Obviously, we won't have others working on our customers or our prospects, but it's a great way for us to stay organized as individuals, and it has potential for local teams to collaborate on upcoming events. But that's a whole nother idea and a subject for a future training. So why would you use Trello for your business? It's a wonderful way to have a place to keep track of all your orders, where you can take notes every time you have contact with a customer. You can create checklists of things you want to do for every customer. You can make labels to differentiate between your actual customers and distributors you treat like customers, like for me, my family plan rebate people. You can set due dates for when you need to touch base with your customers. It's also a great place to keep track of all your contacts, including your team, your customers, and your prospects. It makes it easy to ensure you're inviting the contacts you want to invite to upcoming events. It helps you to ensure you're following up with your prospects. And it's an easy way to create and set a DMO for prospect contact. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a closer look at Trello, and I have two objectives. First, I want to show you how I've set up my boards and how I use them. Obviously, I'm not perfect, and what works for me may not work for you, but it might work for you, so I wanted to share that with you. Then what I want to show you is how you can set up your own boards. So this would be where you could create your own boards along with me, if you've already registered for your free account. And I'm going to break it up into two separate trainings the same day, just today. But if you want to set up your boards like I have, you'll get the opportunity to follow along and do that. And if you aren't ready or prepared to do that, don't worry about it. Just listen, and you'll be able to check the recording when you're ready to set that stuff up. So let's get going. I'm a kid of the 80s, so the whole let's get physical, I thought that's hilarious. Okay. So I'm going to show you what my Trello looks like. So this is what my account looks like when I log into Trello. On this screen, you can see my boards. You can see my team wellness boards and my victory through love boards. For now, we're just going to focus on my personal boards. What Trello says is they explain that a board represents a project. It's a place to organize your tasks into lists. So what I want to do today is I'm going to focus on my Juice Plus orders board and my Juice Plus contacts board. So let's go ahead and start with the orders. Okay. So this is where I have all of my orders, including my family plan rebate people. These are people who are technically distributors, but I treat them like customers, so that's why I keep track of their orders. I differentiate between my customers and family plan rebate customers by utilizing labels. As you can see, there's blue and purple. There's other labels, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, but this is what I do. So what are each of these columns? Each column is a list, and lists are what keep cards organized in their various stages of progress. They can be used to create a workflow or act as a repository of ideas. Cards can be moved across lists as tasks go from start to finish, and a card is a fundamental unit of the board. Cards are used to represent tasks and ideas, something that needs to get done, or something to be remembered. In the case of this board, each list is an opportunity to connect with my customer, and each card represents an order. Now, since I'm relatively new to Juice Plus, I don't have a whole lot of orders on here. Some of you who've been in this for a really long time may have a lot of work to do in the beginning to create your cards in this board, but I will tell you it'll be totally worth your time. As you can see, I have 7 lists. I start with order date, then there's a 10-day call, a 30-day call, 60-day call, 90-day call and survey, and then 5 days prior call, and then of course the sad one, the canceled orders call, or canceled orders box, but I'll talk about that more in a minute. So these lists basically take an order from start to finish, and then they restart. In each card, I'm going to show you, in each card I have 6 checklists, one for each list on my board, so that I know what I want to do for each order. So I complete the checklist that's associated with the list the card is currently in, and that moves the card from start to finish. So for example, this card is in the order date. So she just placed her order, or her order just went through on 5/22. So I would complete the checklist for order date and then move it to the next one. So I'm going to unmute everyone and see if anybody has any questions so far. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay.
This is Chris.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
So when you click on that card, do all those choices, are those almost like tasks?
Yeah.
You're like, we're calling them check marks?
Yeah, so each, these are different checklists that I've created.
Oh, so you created those. Those weren't like their.
Yep. And I'm going to walk you through how to create these. I'm going to help you create this exact board. But yeah, I created them, and so they're checklists that I do. You can add and do checklists however you want. So it's a really awesome tool to do this.
Okay.
Nicole, once you've created one board like that, can you make it a template and use it again and again?
Yep.
Excellent.
Yeah, so you can copy a board. Yes. I'm not going to show you how to do that right now, Mick, though, if that's okay.
It's okay.
Because I didn't include that part in the training because I don't know. Most people won't need an additional orders board. I don't know if you noticed in the beginning, I have multiple orders boards, but that's because I have a few doctors who I am a wellness coordinator for. So I have boards for their orders as well. But most people aren't a wellness coordinator, so most people won't need to copy this particular board. Let's take a break from me training you on what I do, and let's create your own orders board. And I'll walk you through. If you want to go with me and do it, you can. If not, just watch. And when you are ready to create your board, you can do this again. So I'm going to log out of my own, and I'm going to go into a temporary one that I've set up so that I can be just like you guys.
Can you mute everyone again, Nicole?
Yes, I can.
I was just going to say, Mick, thanks.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So if you have a question, I've made it so that you can unmute yourself if you want to, but you don't have to. Oops. Okay. So This is, if you've not done anything in Trello yet, this is what your board is gonna, you're gonna look, what it's gonna look like. What I want you to do is to click on create a new board. And then you're going to title it whatever you want, and you can always change it later. I call mine my Juice Plus orders board. Okay, you don't need to add any team members because this is a private board. This is just for your own customers. And then just click create. All right, so at this point, this menu pops up over here. You can change the background to whatever color you want. They've got different options, and I guess with an upgrade, you can have pictures and stuff, but that's really kind of, it's not necessary. This is a place where you can filter the cards and stuff, and this is more, right now you don't need to use it because you don't have anything in there. So I'm just gonna close this menu. In the first list you're gonna make, you just click here, the first list you're gonna make is your order date. So then push enter and it goes to the next list. And then we can do the 10-day call. Oops. The 30-day call. And if you don't contact your customers this often, that's totally fine. I do this because I want to make sure I'm in constant contact with them and always inviting them to things. And whether I call or not, I'm not always calling. I should have it say 10-day contact or 30-day contact. But so you just push enter and it moves you to a next list. So then you do the 5-day prior call and the canceled. Because let's say it happens, but I want to keep track of them because they're going to start feeling sick and they're going to want to come back. That's what I think. And so that's why I keep track of them. And I try to contact them ever so often just to check in. How are you doing? How's life? And whatnot. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to help you create a fake order card and create the checklist that we want. That way you'll have them ready to go when you're ready to add your customers' cards. So you just click add a card and type in your customer's name. So I'm going to type in future customer. And then I include what their order is next to their name and just add card. And then I want you to open up the card because there's a few things we're going to set up. We're going to set up those checklists and whatnot. So in the description, you'll want to put in the order date and then hit save. So I'm not going to put in an actual order date, but I'm going to do this. So that way I'm ready to go and enter an order date once I have a customer to put in here. I don't need to add comments at this point. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up the labels. Remember how I talked about that I have my customers and my family plan rebate customers? So I'm going to help you set up labels. You can feel free to do them however you want, obviously. I'm just going to show you what I've done because it's what works for me. And yeah, so when you click labels right here, it'll pull up these labels. And this little pencil mark here, if you click that, you can name the label. So I do green for Tower Garden prospects. And then click save. My yellow I have as invited. Oops, I'm in caps. For orange, those are my Juice Plus, whoops. And if you click on it, that assigns the label to that person. So I don't want to assign this one to them. I'm just setting up my labels at this point. Juice Plus prospect, I do as orange. Red is going. Purple is customer for me. Blue are my team members. And then you can add new labels. So it just gives you those 6, but if you add new, so I do my family plan rebate team members in this light blue. And then in light green, I do potential team members. And pink, I do as maybe going. And this is for events. I don't use all these labels on this board. I don't know if I said that already. And then black, I do not going. So there's all my labels. Okay, and I guess I've assigned all these labels to this. So this person is just going to be a customer. So I'm going to assign him a purple so that I know he's a customer. And then I'm going to add the checklists. So the first checklist we're going to add is for, so the only labels I use on this board are the FPR labels and the customer labels. I include all of them on this board so that I don't get confused on my other board, so they're cohesive. I just use the same labels across the boards. So now that we have the labels created, let's go ahead and create the checklist. So to create a checklist, you just click here on checklists and then enter the name and push enter. So the first one I'm going to do is the order date and push enter. And now I'll get to add items. For this one, I start by tracking the shipment. And if you don't know how to track the shipment, it's really easy in your virtual office. And just, you can ask that question, I'll tell you later. And then we set the due date to expected, delivery date. Okay. If I could spell. Okay. And then push enter and it adds it and lets you put in another one. And then move card to 10-day call. And once you have these lists set up, you won't have to do this again, and I'll show you how. So then let's create our next checklist. So this one is going to be the 10-day call. And I'm not going to copy items from this because my checklists are going to be different. So I'm just going to click add, and then I'm going to put in what I do. So at the 10-day call, I call to ensure the order was received. And then I set the due date for 1 month from the 10-day call date because I want to check in at 30 days and see how they're doing. And then I move the card to the 30-day call date. There. And that's that checklist. So let's add our next checklist. The next one is the 30-day. Add that one. And on the 30-day call, that's where, this follows what I've created, follows what the emails that we get from corporate have you ask those questions during the 30-day call. So have you developed the Juice Plus habit? If yes, are you noticing any differences? If no, what's your main hurdle? And then talk to them about that. And I just have these checklists in here so that I remember to go over this stuff with them, some of you have been doing this for a while, probably don't need the reminder. And that's okay. You don't have to set these up. This is just what works for me. Because I have so much in my head that if I don't have a checklist, sometimes things get overlooked. And I know Mick doesn't like checklists, and that's okay. He probably doesn't need this. He's been doing it forever. So Mick probably doesn't need all these questions or all these reminders. But he probably will want this one because this is what helps him move from this checklist or this list to the next one. So you set the due date to 1 month from the 30-day call date. And then you move the card to the 60-day call. And there, that's that checklist. Then we're going to add another. And I know this is kind of tedious, guys, and hang with me. This initial setup is well worth the effort for the long run use. So at the 60-day call, I call the check-in and invite them to something. And then I set the due date to 1 month from the 60-day call date. And then I move the card to the 90-day call. Oops. All right. And that's the 60-day call. So then the 90-day call and survey, this is the one where I think it was Amanda talked about doing that 30-day survey at 90 days, because then they've had about 30 days to do it. And I've started doing that, and people are like, oh yeah, I didn't realize this. That could be attributed to Juice Plus. So anyway, so now I do the survey at the 90-day call the check-in, and I also invite them to something. I'm always inviting them because, as you know, events are key. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the questions in here that are from that 30-day so that I remember to ask. You don't have to ask all of them, obviously, but you go where the conversation leads. It's not like, are you drinking more water? Yes or no. Are you eating more fruits and vegetables? Yes or no. Whatever. So, but I'm doing this now so that you can see what I put into my checklist. And I think that if I highlight all of these, it will add all of them. So I just copied and pasted all the questions that are in a new line, and it's created all of them for me. That's a little bit easier than copying and pasting them all individually. So if you have the questions somewhere, you can copy and paste them in here. So that's that checklist. So after I've done the 90-day call-in survey, I set the due date to 5 days before next ship date and move the card to 5 days prior. And I realize now I haven't talked to you yet about the due date, so I'll tell you that in just a minute. Let's add our last checklist. That's the 5 days prior call. For that one, I call the check-in and make sure that they're ready for their next shipment, because I don't ever want them to get a shipment that they weren't expecting or ready for. And then you set the due date to the next ship date. You move the call back to the order date, and you clear all the checklists, and they're ready to start over. So that's how it moves through the flow. All right. So back up at the top, here's where you can set the due date. So it brings up a calendar, and you can set it for whenever. And the nice thing is that it shows you in color. So like if it's due tomorrow, it shows you yellow. If it's due today, it shows you red. If you're overdue, which happens, it goes like faded, so you can see, oh my gosh, I need to get on this one, right? So that's the due date. So now you have all the checklists and a card ready to copy as you add your customers. So what I did as I was adding my customers is I went and I clicked on this little pencil here, and you can copy the card, change the name here to my next customer, and change theirs to whatever they order. And I want to include the checklist and include the labels. And it's a new order, so I'm going to keep it an order date. If you're adding your customers just starting off, and you have someone you need to do a 30-day call, you can say, I want them in my 30-day call list. Create the card, and there it is. Okay, and then you can change the due date. You can add notes, and anytime you talk, when I add notes, I do the date, and then I add my notes, and that's basically how you use this for your customers. And you can always copy this, and if you copy one that has comments, you just don't include the comments. You create the card. So then that's how you add. So it may take a while to get all of them in there, but it'll be good. So I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions. Oh, You can unmute yourself if you have questions. Okay. So this is a good time. We've been going, I'm not sure how long, but if anybody needs to take a break, you can, wait, where am I? Hang on, sorry. Yeah. So if you need a break, go ahead and take a restroom break. I like to be funny. Oh, Sandra, you raised your hand. Go ahead. Can you unmute yourself? Or can you not? Wait, here. Okay, go ahead, Sandra.
Okay, yeah, it said the host had to unmute. So on the customer, where you had the customer, you can add their name. You know, you didn't put any names there, but I'm assuming you just add the name to.
Yeah, so you change it. Yeah, you change it to whatever you want. So, you know,
Yeah, it's right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you just change it to whatever you want, and there you go. So, when you're copying it, if you copy it from here and push copy, you can change it to, you know, kind of thing. So, yeah.
That's easy.
Okay. Anybody else? I'll unmute everybody.
Go out.
Anybody?
Come on.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. I'm going to, there, everybody's muted. So I'm going to go, let's see, new share. Back to my presentation and my funny pictures because I think it's funny. And I'm going to get ready for the next part. Okay, let's see if anybody has any questions or, oh, what's this? Chat. Angela, you asked if I'm keeping a paper copy of the survey. I'm not. What I do is I take notes within there, and I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll answer Angela's question. Sorry that I missed it. It went in the chat and I didn't see that. So Angela asked if I keep track of that. I don't. What I do, I think I have one that I did the survey for. So let me look here. So I did the 90-day survey for Angela, or for Allison. So what I did was I checked off the questions that I asked. I didn't ask her some of them because that's just not where the conversation went. And then I made notes. Oh, maybe I didn't take notes. I meant to take notes and never did. But what I would do is I would take notes of the conversation rather than keeping a paper copy of the survey. That way it's always here. So you can see I have other notes here. Like I texted her to see when she could do the 90-day call. I have all the way back from when I was prospecting her in here. So it's very useful to keep track of everything that you do. Okay.
So you can, oh, wait a minute.
Go ahead, Sandra.
So you can text from here too?
No.
Okay.
No.
So
I put in notes. I texted her to do this. I emailed her to do this just for myself so that I know what I've done and whatnot. Because there's so much going on in my head. If I don't have notes, I forget. And I don't want to like repeat myself or sound like I'm not caring about them by saying.
I didn't read the notes. I mean, I just So, okay.
Yeah, no, you can't text from here. There's a lot of integrations, a lot of things that you can do with this. I haven't gotten too far into it. I know that you can have your email actually go into this and be a card. I don't know how to do that yet, but they've been sending me emails on how to, and I haven't been doing that yet.
Okay.
So yeah. Anyone else? Okay, so I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to show you my Juice Plus contacts board. And I've lost my speaker notes, so I'm just going to wing it. So in my contacts board, as it'll go, okay, oops. Okay, so this is my contacts board. And this is where I have everybody. I have a list of all my customers, my distributors, and my family plan rebate distributors. I have a list of all my prospects. And then I have a list for every single day of the month. And I have a list for each month all the way through the year. See? Sorry, that goes really fast. But see how I have all the months here? I don't know if it's kind of blurry. Hang on, let me see if it gets clear. I'll just give it a second. Maybe it's not going to. Okay, so
It's clear.
it's clear. Wonderful. Okay, thanks, Mick. Sorry. So this is what I use for my inviting, for my follow-up with people that I meet, for people that I want to talk to about Juice Plus, and events that are coming up. So here are the people that I need to talk to or that I had planned on talking to today. You know, when I do talk to somebody, I go into their card and I make a note of what I've done or what I want to send them. If I sent them a video, I make note and I paste what video I sent them and I have it right in here. And it's a super great way to keep track of who I'm talking to. And there's an event tonight here in Arizona that Dana's presenting on, and these are the people that I'm inviting to and stuff. So you can move cards. So like Kim, this person I didn't see at the gym today. So I am going to be going to the gym tomorrow. Tomorrow's the 27th. So I'm just going to move her to tomorrow. See how easy that was? And then I talked to Frank today, and I can make a note in what I talked to him about. So yeah, so it's just a super easy way. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of winging it. I had a plan in mind for how to present this board to you guys. Hopefully, you guys will be interactive with me. So the labels, these are where I use most of the labels because these are my Juice Plus prospects. These are team member prospects. These are customers that I want to talk to. These people I've already invited to the event. This person might be going. C may be going. She's a team member. So you can have multiple labels for multiple people. For my months, I have all the labels because as I'm scrolling through, it's easy to see all these pretty colors. So what I'll do at the end of today is I will move this whole list. If I click and drag, it can move this whole list into July, or June rather. Where is it? Okay, so here's the end of June. And then what I do is, so June 25th is a Saturday. So that automatically means that this will be Sunday next month. And there, so I'm all set for next month on what, you know, I probably will move these. You know, I can't, normally I clear them out and plan for follow-up on them. I didn't do that right now, but I'm going to move it back. I was just trying to show you how it's easy to move. And as we set up, I think as we set up this board, it'll be easier for me to go through and explain what I'm doing. Because right now I feel I'm sort of rambling. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'll go through setting up a new board. How about that? And maybe that'll give me more direction on how to send you. And if you have a question, please, I think I made it so you can unmute yourself. So if you have a question, just shout, you know, go out and like stop me, so that I can answer as we go, especially since I don't really have a plan right now. Okay, let me log back into that, the plain board. All right, so we're gonna create another new board. And this one is going to be our Juice Plus contacts. And I call it contacts because it's not just my prospects, it's also my team. This is how I'm inviting to events. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to have your team list, and then you want your prospects list. Okay, and then you're gonna put in your months and days. So we are in May, and today is the 26th. Okay, and I'm just pushing enter and adding the next list. So the next day, 28, 29, 30, and you wanna go to 31 because there are some months with 30, some months with 31, but 31 is the most you'll have. And then next, you're gonna do June. And you can do it however you want. Like you can type the whole, I think I did all caps, whatever. You can make it. I'm OCD, so I'll probably do June. And then July. Oh, excuse me. Before I do July, I'm gonna start with the 1st because we started at the 26th. So we're gonna go 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And 9. Okay, so now we have every single day in there, every day represented. And now we can go to July and the rest of the months. August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. And those are all the lists that you need to get this board set up. And as you have events coming up, I create a new list for that particular event. But I'm not going to go into that now. And so this is where we talked about adding a card. So now you'll add your team members here. If you have them in your in a spreadsheet, you can easily take your, so I have my team in a spreadsheet. Oh shoot, I mean I did. I had my team in the spreadsheet. Oh, here they are. And so you can just copy them, Control C, and paste them here. And it's gonna add them, and it'll create 17 cards for you. So there's all of them added. I wouldn't suggest doing this for your customers in your orders board, because then you don't have the checklist and you have to go in and actually physically add each checklist. For your custom or your orders board, I would do the copy. But for this one, you don't need those checklists. These are just, I want to invite Allison to this event, or I want to make sure I'm, with your team. It's so you make sure you're inviting them to events. and then your prospects and stuff. So I would like people to ask questions because I'm sort of, I'm not sure what else I need to tell you at this point. So who has questions? Anyone?
So Nicole, how long did it take you to learn all this?
A couple days.
Short days, long days?
Short days. I mean, it's fairly easy to use. It's super user friendly, and the app is a big part of why I decided to convert to Trello, because I was able to keep track of stuff on my spreadsheet from my computer. But when I was on the go, if I was talking to somebody, I couldn't make notes. And so by the time I'd get to my computer, I'd forgotten. Whereas with Trello, you can easily, I'm going to stop share at this point so that you can see me. With the Trello app, it's very easy. I don't know if you can see it. So there's my boards. And then I can easily go into my contacts and make a note. And I could actually copy a text that I received and paste it into the notes. So I'm not having to type out. So it's a very easy way to keep track and update as I'm on the go. And that is the main reason why I switched to Trello, is because when I'm on the go, if I run into somebody and I'm like, oh, what did I invite them to last? Did I invite them to this yet? Do I need to follow up if I invited them? Whereas like now I'm like, oh, I'm going to see this person. And I could go, oh, okay, I'm seeing Frank today at Mountainside. Okay, I sent him an email yesterday. Hey, did you get my email? So it's super easy. It takes a little work. Like it took a little finagling to figure out how I wanted to organize the boards and stuff. And so that's why I wanted to share that, because there's trainings out there for Trello on different network marketing companies. There's nothing for Juice Plus. So to me, it was needed to figure out how best can we optimize our Juice Plus business using Trello. And I think for us, our two main things are customer service and inviting to events and following up in contact with our prospects. So that's why those two boards, I feel, are what we need as business people in Juice Plus. The orders board helps us to keep track and provide great customer service. We're constantly in touch with them. Those checklists help to ensure that we're doing the things that we should be doing, that some of us may not be doing. I wasn't doing the survey. And then the contacts board helps with events. And okay, I've got this event coming up. Who do I want to invite? So I just drag from my prospects list over to that event. And then I've got a whole list of people I want to invite. The labels help me know, have I invited them yet? Are they going? Are they not going? Are they maybe going? Kind of thing. So it's super easy to keep track of all that, because that was a struggle with my spreadsheet. So it's like, how do I keep track of who I'm inviting to what and making sure that I'm following up with them? Whereas if I have a list of everybody I've invited to a particular event and I have labels to know, okay, I haven't invited this person yet, and the event's today, I better get on talking to them. Or the event's in a week. Let's get ahead of the game. So I'm just now at the point where I'm getting ahead of the game and I'm inviting a week out. Rather than the day before, because that's what was happening with my spreadsheet, is I was inviting the day before and I wasn't getting a whole lot of yeses.
Can you search Trello for everybody you've invited to a particular event?
Not if you just like put it in a note. No. So that is why, let me share my screen. Actually, I'm gonna log out of this test one and get into my, hang on, sorry. I'm gonna get into my boards and show you what I do for that. That sounds like the baby's up. Oh.
I couldn't help but notice you had a Dana Scully sign in, you
Okay.
X-Files girl, or was that a Trello example?
I don't know.
Yeah, it was an email already filled in the login box, and it was Dana Scully at something.gov. I thought that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, it must have been a
Somebody,
Trello thing.
somebody Trello's an X-Files fan.
Maybe. Okay, so
Okay.
in my contacts board, can you see this?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so in my contacts board, for example, we have an event coming up in June, the 1st of June, called Stories of Health, and it's a panel event. And so I have moved people from my prospects list to here who I want to invite. So like if I'm at my prospects list and I'm like, Colleen, oh no, like I go through, I haven't entered all my prospects yet. I've got all their names, but I don't have all their notes. I don't have everything in there. I still have almost 300 to go through. But I'm just working with what I've got right now. So you can search Trello for a person. Like if I want to find a person, I can enter their name and it's gonna pop up where they are and stuff like that. So you can
That's cool.
search Trello, but as far as events go, what I have found works best, and maybe people will find better, what I found works best is having a list for that event and putting the people you want in there.
So you drag them from contacts to the event?
Yep. Or you can do this. So let's see. So this person, if I want to move her somewhere, you can click on that little pencil box and click move. And then you can trade which board you want them on. So like, let's say Tracy places an order. Then I can move her to my orders board. You see that? I'm not going to do that because she's not going to order right now. She's not even there. But I can move her there. So if I want to move her to a different list, the reason I put in all the information in the name of the list is because I can easily see what events are coming up. So here's my Stories of Health. Here's a Salads and Swim. Here's all the events coming up. The numbers are just the dates of the month. You know.
So if you move her to that event, she is no longer in your prospect list?
Right. So if I move her there and move, so she's gone from my prospects list. And now she is over here in this event.
So the
if
day after the event, you'll have to move her back.
well, actually, what I do is if she decides not to go, I would make a note and say can't go, busy or not interested or whatever, and then I would move her back to prospects. So I'm doing that as I go. So like if anybody decides not to go, they go back to their original list. If they're going, I keep them there until the event. And then after the event, if they've gone or if they potentially were going to go and didn't show up, I'd be like, I'll use that as an opportunity to contact them. So like the event that we just did, I archived the list, but we did an event last week and I had 3 people come. And so what I did was I still had them on my list. Like, let's pretend these are people who are all coming tonight. Tomorrow, I will go and I will email each of them and say, hey, thanks so much for going to the Own Your Own Life event. What did you like best about it? You know, and use that as an opportunity to follow up and then move them to my next contact or move them back to the list if they're, you know, if I'm not following up. Eventually, what I would like is to have nobody over here and have them all over here that I'm constantly in contact with them. I want to have multiple people on every day that I'm contacting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it is. So that's where, when I say it's useful for making a DMO, you can plan who you want to talk to. And I haven't gotten there because I threw in this training. Because I'm so excited about Trello, I want everybody to be able to use it, and if they want to, because the key is in the customer service and following up with your prospects. And if you're not organized, you're not going to do it. You're just going to be flighty, and you're not going to be a person of your word. So you need to have a way to be following up. And I'm so excited about Trello. Like, I'm obsessed and wanted to get it out there for you guys.
We can tell.
That it disconnected for a few minutes there. Can you just copy the name over to your invite without taking it out of your contacts?
You can, but I don't know why you'd want to, because you don't want to have in one board. I wouldn't want to have duplicates of the same name, because you're wanting to take notes and have a succinct person. So if you have one in your prospect list and one in it would just be harder to keep track of.
The power of it seems to me, Nicole, that each of your contacts is in Trello, is in your organizational system, in context, in the place where you know what the follow-up is going to be, you know what the next step action for that person is.
Mm-hmm.
So they're either invited to an event that's coming up, or they are scheduled for a follow-up call from you. And so it's very contextual.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why I want to get those people off of the prospect list and somewhere where I'm going to be contacting them. Because right now, when they're on that list, they're not on my radar.
Exactly.
So getting them out of the prospect list gets them on my radar and gets them contacted.
So each time you take an action with any of those contacts, whether it's a prospect, a customer, a team member, you've taken the action, you make a note of the action on that card, or whatever you call it.
Yep, on the card.
And then you move it to the next step.
Yep.
For that person.
Yep.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing?
I love that.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, it's really nice.
Because next step planning makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And Trello encourages you to do exactly that.
Yeah, and this way of setting it up, like, there's lots of ways to set up Trello. It's very customizable. This is the contacts board is something called 43 cards or something that one of my friends sent me, and that's having one list for every month and one list for every day of the month, and then you just constantly move it over. You're constantly moving it over, so that, like, my plan, once I have everybody on days, rather than if I just contacted them, there's no future action, I'm just going to move them to next month, and I'm going to follow up with them next month. Mm-hmm. If I feel they're a little, like, touchy, I'll move them to another month and just put them in that month list. And then when it gets to that month, I'll be like, okay, these are the people that I need to contact at some point in this month. That things make sense in my head, and sometimes I don't articulate them well. So I'm hoping that I'm articulating that well.
Yeah, very well. I mean, the other thing occurs to me listening to you explain that is that you can avoid overloading yourself.
Right.
Because you could be about to move someone for a follow-up to a day or to a week where you look at calendar and think, wait a minute, I'm on vacation. So move them to a day when you can do follow-up.
Right, yeah.
Spread things out through the week.
Mm-hmm. And something that I didn't mention with the orders one, I'm going to go back and share my screen with the orders board. The dates, the due by dates that I set, so you see they're in red. These ones for the 30, 60, and 90, these ones I don't worry too much about if I'm a little late on. But this one is the one that I really try to pay attention to. This person's actually not up for 5 days. She's talking about canceling, so that's why I've made her red. But for these people, their due date, their next ship date is coming up, so I need to have contact them. I need to pay attention to this this due date. So this is really the one that for my daily mode of operations, I check my orders board first and see if there's any contact I need to make with my customers. I make sure I definitely check this. Sometimes I don't do these ones right away, and I think that's okay because they don't know that I'm wanting to contact them. Obviously, like it's good practice to stay on top of it, so I don't, especially if I'm like you and I have 1,000 customers, like I'm going to want to stay on top of it, and the more on top of it I stay, the less overloaded I'm going to get. But then after I've done my orders and made sure anybody who's got something coming up has been contacted, then I go and most of my day is spent with my contacts and making new contacts and meeting new people and talking about Juice Plus. And I listened to a call, was Autumn and Michelle, and I don't know their last names, but Michelle was saying how Kurt instructed her to talk to 5 people a day. She's like, tell me what to do. What do I need to do to get to national marketing director? And he told her, Kurt Beavers said, talk to 5 people a day. And on that call, I asked her, I was like, well, what does that mean? Are you talking to 5 new people a day? Are you talking to, and she's just like 5 people about Juice Plus. It could be a current customer. It could be a new person. It could be a prospect. It could be a random person on the street, but 5 people a day, talk to 5 people a day. And so my goal is to have 5 people on my list for every day. Actually, my goal is 7, but that's ambitious. So that's one thing I wanted to share about the orders list. The 5-day one is the one I most try to pay attention to for that due date, because I don't want anyone to get something that they don't want, because I think that's bad customer service.
So does Trello act as a positive coach and conscience for you?
Yeah, because I don't really feel bad because I can move them over. Like there's been a lot where I had people on the list for today and I didn't get to them, and I was like, oh, I'll just move them to this day. And it's okay. It's all right that I don't get to it. I don't need to feel obsessed. Whereas with my spreadsheet, it would turn the color and then it would just get longer and longer and longer of the reds that I hadn't contacted yet. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I can't do this. Whereas with
I'm so bad.
I'm like, I'm being awful. I'm never going to get to NFP. So it's definitely easier. And I mean, obviously the pressure is all my own doing, but that just the visual, it helps, like today, if I, don't get to everybody, which actually I've already gotten to everybody for today. So I might add more people for today, but yeah. So anybody else have questions?
Does it give you any notifications for anything, or you just have to open the app up?
I thought that it did, but so far I haven't figured out how to get it to give me notifications. Somebody told me that it did, but I can't figure it out. So yes, I have to go in. But again, I can just go in on my phone and I can see, who I need to contact. I don't set due dates on my contacts board because I don't want that pressure. If I've made an appointment with somebody, then I'll set a due date on my contact board. Like today I had a play date scheduled with a mom that I met at Snippets. And so she's on my board for today, and I set a due date for her because I was meeting her. But people that I want to contact, I don't set a due date. The due dates I only use for my orders. So my son just got out of bed. He's not supposed to be down here. Anyway, yeah, so I can't figure out how there's a collaboration. There's a way to collaborate on it. Okay, love you. You can go watch something if you want while I'm doing this. Anyway, yeah, so I wish it would send notifications like warnings, but so far, I mean, as long as you make it part of your DMO to check it, you shouldn't miss anything, you know, with the orders and stuff. Because, you know, the only, yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question? Roberta's asking a text question. Hang on. I think I need to take off due dates on my prospects and use labels instead. You're right, it does. So Roberta said, I think I need to take off due dates on my prospects and use labels instead because it does add pressure. And it does. What? You're looking for the remote. It's right here. You're welcome. I don't know if he's going to be able to set it up on his own. Try. Okay. Excuse me just a second. Talk amongst yourselves. Do you want to watch this? Because I think doctors on
Really pretty. It's an interesting app. It's impressive.
For us,
Yeah, it really is.
for a long time, do you recommend just starting now or building all that have, putting in all the past first?
I would start with now. I would start with now and then work your way backwards. Because if you start with the past, you're gonna just keep getting behind. Whereas like
Okay.
you can, as you have time, you can add more. So like I said, I haven't finished my prospects list in there, but I'm just working on what I have. Like on my customers, I tried, that was my first thing, was to get everybody in there as quick as I could. It was easy for me because I had it all in the spreadsheet. You know,
Yeah.
you're taking it from your virtual office, it might be a little harder. I don't really know how that would work other than just toggling between or even using the phone app and entering them there. But yeah, I would start with today and then work my way backwards. Especially for those of you who have been doing it a lot longer, so you have a lot more. It'd be overwhelming to start from the beginning. So.
And do you still use the virtual office very much anymore or
I
not?
do. I actually use the virtual office for that, for the order date. Preston, can you turn the volume down, please, sweetheart? Do you remember how to do that on the TV? Thank you. So like for my order date, I track shipping. So I go and I run my, what is it called? I know where it is. The order analysis, because that's where I can get the shipping information. And I actually, I go to the shipping page and I copy the address and paste it in a note. And so then I can just click in Trello to track the shipment and make sure it was delivered. And so at the 10-day call, I double check, I make sure it's delivered, and then I text or call and say, hey, I noticed your package was delivered. Did you get it? And they're like, yeah, I'm so excited. Wait, you choose us, create excitement around that. But I use my virtual office for tracking and my my points and my team's points and stuff. So I still use my spreadsheet for stuff that requires calculations.
Right.
So like when I'm helping my team get to HLP or get to their 2000 plus, I'm still using a spreadsheet for that. And still getting that information off of my virtual office. I'm not super skilled at the virtual office. Lisa just taught me how to look at my D's. I didn't know how to do that. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right. Well, that's really all I have for you. I hope this was helpful. We're over an hour long, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.